And part of that was really understanding, again, the customer. And I had a yellow card, and I literally would throw it on the table that said voice of the customer.
Wow.
Because they didn't listen to me. In Baltimore, Clark's Lane Apartments.
Summer?
It was summer.
Oh, God.
I was hot. I was an Easter bunny. And I just remember going, this is just the worst thing. But I was trying to do whatever was necessary to get the leads.
You know, who is going to be our brand protector?
Yeah.
This is going to be, right now we're kind of using AI to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when AI is what we need to protect ourselves?
It won't be the same methods that you took in the past by going to maybe a Zillow or apartments.com,
Yep.
but you're going to be using, you know, an AI tool like ChatGPT. Right. Tell me where I should live. Tell me what the reviews are like. Tell me what customers are saying, whatever it might be.
Right now, it is about speed. It's about our ability to quickly enact a change when we see a need or a trend or something that is working, you know, to go further with it. To be a marketer who can be nimble and make those changes quickly, because
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
can I get you a drink?
I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate it. So put this right underneath. Perfect. Right underneath.
Slam.
Hey, bam. Again, that's
Is
perfect.
this thing on?
That is on. Is it testing 1, 2, 1, 2? So awesome to have you both here in Atlanta, live in the studio, IRL. There's no better way to do it. I gotta
Can
say,
we just say that
Yeah.
you invited us here less than 5 days ago?
I know it's not
And we
amazing.
just
I think
booked
it
our
was like
tickets
3 days
3 days
ago.
ago,
We're like,
and we just,
okay,
we just
we're
got on an
in.
airplane. We said, "Hey,
I
Chris
said,
wants
I'm
us?"
in, you in. She
Yeah.
said yes. And we
You
made it
said
happen.
spontaneity, and I tell you, it was funny because we had talked about doing this back
We
in
have
February.
been
Yeah.
trying to figure it
And we're
out.
like, we got to do this, we got to do this, and I'm like, hey, why don't we have you come out? We can grab some great food, some great wine,
Yep,
hang out. You used to
Yeah.
live here.
I did.
It's a short
My
flight
husband
for you.
lives here, so I need to come here.
Absolutely.
Truth.
Well, and, you know, that's what's amazing about Atlanta. Is they say it's like a 2-hour flight from like 80% of America, which is
Yeah.
unreal.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
tell you, you know, you have amazing food, that Papadou down there in
Yeah,
Houston.
that's good. Yeah, that's good.
And you have great food as well. But I got to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised by Atlanta, moving here from California, how good the food is and the culture here. So it blows my mind.
A lot of
That's
diversity
nice.
of food too. I love it.
I mean, you obviously, you know, love food, love wine. You know, you travel. You both travel together. I mean, so
Yes.
this is all about. You know, we're going to dive into your power couple,
We do love to travel together.
and you're always together. You're speaking at shows together. You know, obviously, you know, you share best practices with each other. And being in this industry, it is like a family. So, you know, how did you get to tell me how you got to know each other? First off, how did that spark happen?
I'll never forget it. And so a long time ago when I was a leasing agent, I wanted to ask a question of a speaker, and I wrote her and she didn't respond. And then I wrote to somebody else and they responded. And then they said, hey, are you going to this conference? I said, I can't afford it. She ended up getting me comped and she paid my airfare.
Okay.
When I got there, I ended up meeting her
Ah.
and other friends who are today still of my dearest, dearest friends. So we've known each other how many years?
Well, I was 23, so I'm doing the math. Long time.
A couple of years,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah,
7
it's-
years.
At least.
At least.
But what I loved about
lifetime.
immediately sitting at the table is listening to Kate. And even though, as you're pointing out, you were younger than most people there, she just had ideas and she had confidence. And she was somebody that I never forget that first time I met her. And I'm so lucky and blessed to have her in my life. She has been somebody who has been a supportive, wonderful, amazing friend who brings me tremendous joy.
We're not supposed to have the tearjerker at the
That
That makes it
This
hard,
happens often,
Jamie.
Chris. I remember vividly that day. I could tell you what I was wearing. Like, I remember everything about it. But yeah, being the young one, the underdog in the room. But it was a place where I could talk about what I thought was cool, what I thought was a good idea. And to have this super smart person, like Jamie's intelligence is off the charts.
Yes.
For her to acknowledge what I said, ask another question, and really like digest it, it made me feel amazing. And, you know, those are the people you want to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And we were at this conference and just about everybody there was in that same mindset. And we walked away with some of the most incredible friendships that we've nurtured over the years. We've learned from each other over the years.
Absolutely.
We've supported each other. And they've made me bigger than myself,
So cool.
smarter than myself. And I wouldn't be in where I am today if it wasn't for meeting that core group of friends.
I mean, it's so cool to hear the two experiences and of connecting the dots. I think a lot about too is something I've learned is it's the people, you know, you have successes. You talked about giving people checks when you sold a property. It was incredible. But we're so lucky in an industry where if you get to meet people that you enjoy working with and your friends and to spend more time with them, you end up working together, right? You end up traveling together, you end up speaking together, you end up brainstorming together, you know, and the organizations. So I'm curious, you know, to think, you know, when you are deciding on the things you want to work with and the things you want to work on, you know, are there certain things, I got to say, like, you know, travel first off and foremost. How do you make a decision? Is it diving in, you know, to development? Is it diving into marketing conferences? Are there certain types of things you really keep an eye out on the industry for? Whether it's, you know, going to speak at a developers conference, an investment conference, a marketing conference. How do you both think about the travel? I
wish I had more time to be out of the office. I really wish I could go to all the conferences because they're so good. Like there's one I want to go to this fall. It backs up to another one. I'm trying to figure it out. I want to be at all of them.
Yeah.
That's great. But I do have to make decisions. And so if they want me to speak, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
But two, it might be the keynoter that they have, or they've created a forum where I'm going to get great time with peers instead of just being in a sea of people. Like I've been invited to something kind of cool that I'm going to get some really special time. So that's a difference maker for me.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's a couple of events. Blueprint, I think, is terrific. I think OpTech continues to be, and I'm excited about this year. I think it's a big change, but I think we're all looking forward to it. So I think there's certain ones that you always aim for, and you say, I got to be there.
What aim?
And aim.
No pun intended.
Oh my
very
God,
pun intended.
Aim. Yeah. So I think there's some that you just make the time for because it's well worth going.
Of course. I do have a shout out from one of the people who presented a question, Pete, our good friend Pete down in Orlando. And he asked, you know, his question is about being women in an industry that's, you know, as many people say, a lot of men in suit jackets at a lot of these conferences. What's maybe something you overcome in your careers to be in the leadership roles as a CXO, as a CMO, and as a partner of a leading firm in America?
Well, I can tell you, and again, I've been around for a very long time. So when I started in this industry, there were not women in the corporate office, and certainly trying to find my voice so that I would be heard wasn't always easy. And I remember sitting at Charles E. Smith around this big marble table with all these really, you know, incredible men, but no one was listening to me. And I had to find a way to break through. And part of that was really understanding, again, the customer. And I had a yellow card, and I literally would throw it on the table that said voice of the customer.
Wow.
Because they didn't listen to me. And so I had to create something. And then it got to the point where if I threw that card in the middle, they all listened. They all stopped. They all wanted to say, okay, what does she have to say? It got to the point, which was great, as the chief development officer said, I'm never doing anything without you and hearing your input. But that was tough. I mean, sitting around there trying to figure it out, and I'm not the most always confident. I'm an introvert. And so trying to push myself so that I could add value, but also, you know, find ways. And that's one of the ways I did it.
The pattern disrupt. That's great.
That's right.
Kate.
I wish I had a thoughtful answer like what Jamie just gave you, but for me, it was really, I just did stuff.
Yeah.
I just did
just got it done.
I saw a piece, a couple pages out of a new construction project we were working on at Trammell Crow. And my office was right next to the development team. And I marked it up with a red pen and walked it over to him.
Wow.
And that was when I kind of made my voice known, like, hey, I'm in charge of leasing these things, and I've got some ideas for you. And it really didn't occur to me that I wasn't invited to the table. So just doing it.
Yeah. You just took action.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about our new sponsor, iRestify. Property managers, here's the truth. Happy residents stay longer, and clean properties create happy residents. That's exactly what iRestify does. They specialize in multifamily cleaning and maintenance services that keep your residents happy and buildings pristine. They handle everything from common areas to turnovers. iRestify provides fully vetted professional cleaning teams and uses its proprietary platform to remotely monitor, schedule, and manage cleaning and maintenance operations across property portfolios. You get proof of service, quality inspections, and resident satisfaction reports, all through one easy app. Visit iRestify.com to see why so many multifamily pros are switching to iRestify.
So another question. What did I even know? What's the first, if you can remember, the first marketing campaign you ever worked on?
Oh my God, Jamie has the best answer.
Okay.
She has the best answer.
No, it's not a good answer. All I remember when you asked me this question, it was like I dressed up as an Easter bunny and sat there and drove traffic in.
Where was this?
Absolutely awful.
What city?
In Baltimore, Clark's Lane Apartments.
Summer?
It was summer.
Oh, God.
I was hot. I was an Easter bunny. And I just remember going, this is just the worst thing. But I was trying to do whatever was necessary to get the leads. So that was the one that was the first that I remember.
Reminds me of like a Jesse Itzler story. How he dressed up in all these funky outfits and costumes all the time. And you never forget it. You never forget it.
No, I never forget it.
You're lucky it was an Easter bunny costume because I worked in South Florida and they wanted me to put on a bathing suit. So that would never happen today in this industry. But this was a whole different time.
I would have done that then. Absolutely.
But my first marketing memory was on a Wednesday. We had to finalize the copy for our inline newspaper ad that was going to run on a Friday. Like Wednesday was a big deal. You had to make the deadline for the Friday paper so it'd run over the weekend.
That's right.
And when my manager, Glenn Rand, let me write the first couple ads, and I was a little irreverent. And so but they got attention. And we saw an increase of traffic. Kind of made a mark for myself.
We need to get that framed for you. Or what that original copy.
I want to know what the ad.
I gotta go find the microfiche.
May not be. We want to keep our PG status here on YouTube. So here's a fun one. What's the brand you most admire outside of multifamily right now? Is there a brand out there?
We've been talking about Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
Okay.
Ryan,
so
he's fantastic.
He's an actor, but he also has a great marketing firm, and it's called Maximum Impact. And they are known for their humor, their crisis rebound, and being very topical of the moment, pop culture. They're the go-to, and they do it. They execute so well. I dream of being part of that team. I think I'm pretty witty. And these people could challenge me. I think that that is an environment that I would love to work in.
And I thought that, when they named it fastvertising, which is, it's in the moment, it's making it happen, it goes viral, right? I mean, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
What's the most underrated skill for a marketer in 2025? What's the most underrated skill? It's someone you look for. It could be in leadership too.
I really think right now it is about speed. It's about our ability to quickly enact a change when we see a need or a trend or something that is working, to go further with it. To be a marketer who can be nimble and make those changes quickly, because we're taping this in August, right? And in many markets, we're at the end of leasing season.
Yeah.
And I'm looking back at some of my numbers wishing it was June, right? And why do we make those changes faster? And so I think that that's a really important skill.
Yeah, and I think what's happening is we're still not great at taking the data and figuring out the insights. And so what we do is we report the data, but where are the insights? Where are the action items?
Yeah.
And then the other is taking that to understand what you need to change for the customer experience, and then being empathetic and applying all that together. We're just still not doing it. So we've got to get better at it.
Yeah, we talked about the book, the great writer you got to learn, Stephen Covey, the seven
habits of highly effective people.
Right. The 7.
You want me to name them?
They actually have cards.
They do.
They have a deck of cards.
And
Donald
so
Davidoff actually said, Jamie, get the cards. It'll help.
What's a book that has shaped or inspired how you lead? A writer or a speaker or a book that's impacted you?
Leaders that leaders eat last.
Eat last?
Yeah.
Simon Sinek?
Absolutely.
Yes, Simon Sinek. Love him.
Trust, empathetic, being that servant leader. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just spot on. The other one is Tom Pizzuto's book, Reflections of an Ordinary Man.
I didn't know he wrote a book.
He wrote a book.
Okay.
It's absolutely fabulous. I would buy it. I try to get him to sign it and give it to recent college grads or people starting in the business.
Yeah.
I just think really good lessons.
I need to get that book. I need to get a signed one. I got to go up to DC to get one of these days. How about you?
Well, I'm just going to reveal that I'm not a huge reader. I have dyslexia, and it takes me a very long time to get through a book. I really can count on this hand the number of books that I've read cover to cover. The one that stands out to me is the Bible.
Huh?
But when it comes to leadership education, I really step up to podcasts and, online opportunities. It's in my ear while I'm doing something else. I tend to retain a lot that way. And gosh, I wish I had the time to sit and read a book. I used to do it on airplanes and that's different now because we have Wi-Fi. Yeah, I got to work. So
my wife and I try to do it when we go to bed. It's a great thing to, we teach our kids, we try to read. We say 3 books a night, but sometimes it'll be like 6 or 7. It's amazing.
Wait, you read it
with the kids.
Oh, wow.
Kids books.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like 45 seconds to 2 minutes apart. Yeah.
Not worthy.
But they're like, Daddy, another one.
All right,
one.
I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can learn so many valuable lessons about trains, if you give a mouse a cookie.
Bluey is one of my favorite shows on TV.
We watched Bluey last night.
I love it.
We had movie night last night on the projector. We have a projector now. I can move around the house. The best thing ever.
Fun.
I think it's brilliant, and they just love Bluey movie night, so I love it too.
Yeah, full disclosure, I don't have kids, so the fact that I'm watching Bluey,
so much fun. So much fun.
It's the best.
It's great, and the life lessons. What's a marketing trend you think will fade quickly?
Influencers.
Influencers.
Kind of over it.
Okay.
And this is what I'm seeing is that these influencers have revealed so much about themselves that when they fail or when something happens in their lives, it's impacting the brands that they were supporting, because when they talk about that in the news story, they'll say influencer so-and-so who represents this. And I think that that's going to start to fade away. I've seen it. It's not as, I hear about it less and less in marketing speak right now. And I think that we'll see a new invention of what an influencer is.
Got it. And Mr. Beast, obviously built an incredible brand, right? But also that could be tricky.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah. I think, I look at certain AI tools that maybe you use an AI tool for a chatbot, then you use an AI tool for leasing, and then maybe you use another AI tool that's doing communications for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not going to work anymore. You can't continue to use all these different AI tools.
Sure.
You need one that's really going to make everything work for your brand, for your customer.
Yeah.
But we see it a lot in our business. There's a chatbot by maybe the PMS company, and then there's another digital agent by another company. I think we're gonna get rid of those things, and it's gonna be who does it best, and maybe one source.
We talked about Steve Halsey, who we just had in the studio recently. Used to be here in Atlanta. Retired from the industry multiple times, coming back.
He's back.
He's back. He's
He
back.
never went away.
So
what do you mean?
He retired twice. He gets pulled out of retirement every time. For those
And
who
now
don't
he's
know.
writing another book.
So he's written
Second
multiple
Chance, right?
books. You talk about someone who doesn't stop.
I love it.
So he was at Charles E. Smith. He was over at Amley and then Wood, and now going to somewhere else we won't say. But he asked a question. He sent me a question to ask you both. And it was about what is the biggest change, whether it's in marketing or other, that you're going to see AI make. Yeah. So what's the biggest changes right now, or the biggest disruption you think AI will have on our lives.
Yeah, we talked about this. I mean, a lot of it is going to be how you find your new home, right? It won't be the same methods that you took in the past by going to maybe a Zillow or apartments.com, but you're going to be using, an AI tool like ChatGPT, right? Tell me where I should live. Tell me what the reviews are like. Tell me what customers are saying, whatever it might be, but help me narrow choices, whatever it is. And so I think it's really changing how that we're shopping. And so how people are searching for homes, and thus it's changing how we market significantly.
For me, I just got to say the fact that Steve Halsey wants to ask me a question. I have a million questions for him.
I think Steve Halsey needs to come back.
Right? We got room on the couch for him right here.
That's right.
So I have a bit of a cynical look at that I want to point out with AI that I think is going to be interesting, and I'm not sure how we're going to handle, but we're already seeing misinformation in AI. So you've got to fact check AI. Where do you go to do that? How are you going to do that? And I'm worried that the bad actors of the world are going to spoil something, and all of a sudden you're going to hear about this in court cases, and it's going to mislead somebody, and I'm a little worried about that. And so I'm interested to see how that evolves and how that changes and what we do about it.
I think there's so many people worried about that. Couldn't agree more. It was so funny today. Bell Partners, there was like a press thing that went out. It said Bell Partners does partnership with Perplexity AI. And it said first time in multifamily, industry to see this. Wasn't true.
Wow.
It was Bell Partners, a Canadian telecom company that had combined with Perplexity AI and has done a partnership.
Different company.
But somebody picked it up and just immediately, again, sort of misinformation.
Wow.
So it's so interesting. It's like we're going to have to be very careful. And we're, to your point, I remember going to the University of Maryland the graduation ceremony. And even when they went around and who's teachers, there's very few teachers, which was sad. And then journalists. No, it was like, no. So we're losing some of these places that would keep us sort of the journalists, the people that would really be helping us. Yeah, it's going to be it's been a whole different world. It continues to be.
And the story you just shared, who is going to be our brand protector?
Yeah.
This is going to be, right now we're kind of using AI to do that. What happens when AI is what we need to protect ourselves? My head starts to spin.
I've seen Terminator. I've seen Iron Man. You don't have to tell me. These movies have. So speaking of protectors and mentors, and that you both have been to me and to many others in the industry, who is someone you look up to in the industry? We talked about Cindy Clare at Bell. Made a big impact. She literally pulled a chair out for me at one of the early events, I think NAA, maybe 11, 12 years ago. We think about Julie Smith, who was very impactful in my life. I'm sure on yours too. But many of these people out there in the industry, Maria Banks over at Amley was a huge impact on me about 11 years ago. Flew out to San Francisco to meet with me before and kind of helped us with the product. Curious to know who made an impact on you both in your lives, whether it's in the industry or outside, that you want to call out.
Yeah, well, Tom Bizzuto. Okay. Certainly, I was incredibly lucky to work for Bizzuto and report directly to him. I continue to cite him. I just think he's a terrific mentor. It's funny you mentioned Cindy Clare. When I started to grow in my career, she would be the one I would reach out to and say, what do you think of this decision? Or what do you think even pay packages, because I just didn't know. And so I would reach out to her. She would be my call. And I'm incredibly grateful. Steve Halsey, oh my gosh, another one, right? We're so lucky. Great people in this industry. And we work differently than some. We really help each other. And I've been very lucky. He
was the first person to fly out on a whim, just to fly out for sushi and our podcast for me and Adrian here in Atlanta. And that was mind-boggling. And now you both did that for us. So that's amazing. So love to hear who impacted your life.
Well,
or a couple people.
I knew in my heart for a long time that I did want to be a developer, and I wasn't sure how I was going to go about it or get there. And I had a opportunity to have a conversation with Tom Bizzuto at an NMHC event. And he's always been a person who will take an interest in somebody and really listen and And he asked me, what are you going to do with your career? At this point, I was a consultant, a speaker. I think he saw something in me that I was seeing in me. And it was an opportunity for me to kind of test that conversation with somebody of great importance who has done the work, right? He took this perspective with me that it's possible, and how can I help you? And no one had done that. To me, it felt like this uphill climb that I was going to have to take. But when somebody puts a hand out and says, I want to help you. And from there, a friendship grew. I'll never forget when my mom passed away, he wrote me a handwritten note, and just much like you, writing beautiful notes. Jamie has beautiful handwriting. Y'all are so good at that.
Learn from my mom and my wife. So.
Well, keep doing it, because that matters. That
does.
I could text somebody, but that's going to get lost, right?
Yeah.
You write a handwritten note to somebody,
Never forget.
and that goes in the drawer. You save that. And for me, it's in my professional scrapbook.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming. I think, I think about, we got to come down to Texas. I'm due for a trip. We're going to come on down, especially maybe to help some of the people down there. Can keep being the power couple that you are. The hard work, the inspiration, it does not go unnoticed. So thank you for coming to Atlanta. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you. Thank you.